Welcome to today's Explainer. We are embarking on a truly fascinating exploration of ancient, timeless wisdom, looking at some profound cosmological and anatomical blueprints that have quite literally been hiding in plain sight for millennia. We're not just opening a history book today, we're actually going to decode a sacred, living tradition, one passed down through the ages that maps the entire universe directly onto your very own human form.
So, let's just dive right into this. What if the ancient scriptures you've heard all your life are not merely historical records, but a brilliant, intricate cipher for your own spiritual rebirth? The mystery traditions have always taught that these grand narratives carry a much deeper esoteric meaning, designed specifically to guide us through an internal transformation.
All right, Section 1, the hidden cosmic cipher and mapping the starry heavens. To start, we're going to peel back the literal text of a very familiar narrative, the first chapter of the book of Luke. This foundational text really grounds our journey. On the surface, sure, it introduces specific geographical locations and historical people. But in the language of timeless esoteric wisdom, these places, like Galilee and Nazareth, they act as deliberate cosmic waypoints. They are actually pointing us to specific coordinates in the starry canopy right above our heads.
Think about the etymology for a second. Galileo literally originates from roots meaning wheel or revolution. It represents the rotating wheel of the heavens, the celestial sphere spinning above us in a gale-force wind. And Nazareth? Well, that translates to branches or a consecrated watchtower. It represents the central world tree of creation, the tree of life positioned right at the cosmic pole. It's totally mind-blowing when you see it.
And this perfectly illustrates that timeless hermetic principle of as above, so below. The universe outside is mirrored flawlessly inside you. In the macrocosm, at the bottom of the celestial sea, we find the great ship Argo Navis floating. But get this. Inside your own skull, you literally have a structure in your cerebellum called the arbor vitae, which translates to the actual tree of life. Now, the people in this story, they aren't just characters, they're a literal celestial map. Mary is Virgo, the pure vessel. Her partner Joseph is the harvest gatherer, which perfectly aligns with Virgo's season. Meanwhile, David represents Aries, the shepherd, up at the high place of the zodiac, and Elizabeth points directly to the Pleiades, the seven sisters positioned right next door. This entire epic story sits squarely in the stars. As the story progresses, the angel Gabriel greets Mary with the word, "Hail." Now, this isn't just a casual hello. In its deepest etymological roots, hail means wholeness, health, and to be entirely undivided. It's actually an esoteric instruction to become whole by marrying the internal opposites. It sets the stage for what alchemists call the magnum opus, or the great work. Moving right along to Section 2, the anatomy of ascension and the sacred geometry of rebirth.
Let's see how this builds from the cosmos straight into the literal anatomy of the human body. Because you see, this story isn't just happening in the sky, it's happening right along your spine. The angel announces the conception of divine light in verses 31 and 32. And those specific numbers? Absolutely no accident. They point directly to the ascension of light up your physical form, leading us up to the highest point, the throne of his father David. That brings us to the highly significant number 33. This represents the 33 vertebrae of your spinal column. As we travel up from verse 31 to 32 and finally to 33, we're mimicking the ascent up the spine. The 32nd and 33rd vertebrae are literally named the axis and the atlas, the bones that physically hold up the world of your skull. They map the path straight up to the throne of the brain, where God dwells in the stillness.
And when the ancient text refers to the house of David and the horn of salvation, it correlates to Aries, the ram at the top of the zodiacal wheel. But inside you, it's pointing right to the ram's horns in your own brain, the hippocampus, which is structurally shaped exactly like ram's horns. And here's an amazing coincidence for you. The character Zechariah translates to "he who remembers," and the hippocampus is the literal biological seat of your memory.
Which brings us to a famous inquiry by Nicodemus. He essentially asks the first biological "wait, what?" in recorded history. He wonders how a full-grown person could physically re-enter a womb. This logical hurdle is brilliant because it perfectly sets up our next massive revelation. What exact womb must we enter to be born again spiritually? Well, the answer is pure, sacred geometry, the Vesica Piscis. It's the geometric shape created by the intersection of two circles, forming an almond shape. This is the exact geometry behind the famous Jesus fish. In the ancient mystery traditions, this shape represents the celestial birth canal, the literal geometric womb where the spirit enters materiality. To be born again, you have to pass through this spiritual and geometric portal.
And that brings us to part 3, the alchemical marriage within.
For our final act, we have to uncover how to actually trigger this transformation. How do we unite the heavens and the earth inside the laboratory of our own bodies? This beautiful line from Luke, "The Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee," isn't just poetry. It's a precise alchemical formula. The highest represents the polar stillness, the very top of the celestial dome, while the Holy Ghost represents the flowing, cleansing waters of creation descending upon you. It is quite literally heaven meeting earth.
To perform this great work, to transform our heavy, Saturnian lead into spiritual gold, we have to perfectly marry our internal opposite forces. We all possess both masculine and feminine energies, right? The masculine provides courage, assertiveness, and strength, while the feminine offers empathy, gentleness, and intuition. The alchemical marriage demands that we harmonize these opposing forces to achieve complete, undivided wholeness, to truly become Hail.
So let's walk through this 3-step Trinitarian process. It's a timeless tradition designed to guide you toward ultimate spiritual rebirth. First, the Creator's thought is conceived in the high place of your mind, your internal Aries. Second, the Holy Ghost, symbolized by the dove or the constellation Columba, lands on you, the branch of the tree of life, cleansing your past. And third, you give birth to the divine light, the inner sun, illuminating your entire being.
This beautiful expression right here is the ultimate climax of the great work. Notice the very specific distinction between soul and spirit. The soul is your emotional, thinking self, magnifying the divine, while your spirit, that innermost breath of life, rejoices. It is the absolute unification of your total emotional being and your life-giving spirit. It's a true, profound state of internal harmony.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. The scriptures aren't just ancient texts out there in the world, and the stars aren't just burning gas light years away. They are a map penned directly onto you. The alchemical laboratory is your own body, and the tools to perform this sacred marriage, they're already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked. So are you ready to begin? Thank you so much for exploring this profound wisdom with me today.